Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Court of Random Opinion. My name is Lauren Neidigh, and if you haven't figured this out by now, tonight you're going to know for sure that the devil works hard, but I work faster and I work a hell of a lot harder because I just got 7 new filings in opposition to Blake Lively's complaint, as well as 4 filings in opposition to Stephanie Jones' complaints. That's right. I just bought 11 filings off of Pacer to go through with you guys tonight, and it is going to be a marathon. So what I'm going to do is we'll go through every response to Blake Lively's complaint together. I'll take a little break after that. Who knows how many hours that'll be? Probably, I'm hoping I can get through it relatively quickly. And then we'll go through in a separate stream the publicist case. I'm also going to have my friend Omar, the Tilted Lawyer, covering all of these rebuttals. So it's going to be a crazy-ass night. So buckle in, and I appreciate everyone who's here with me right now. Thank you to all my mods who are joining in the chat. It is going to be a crazy night for me, but I prepared for this. I think most of you who watch my channel regularly know that I've been saying this was going to be my Super Bowl, and here I am, because I am not a full-time content creator, but I really like doing this, and as I've said, once I decide I want to do something, once I put my mind to it, I commit to it. So let's get through this together. We're going to go through all of it. Fuck it. I also swear a lot more than the devil. So I'm just giving people a minute to hop in here because this was not a scheduled stream, so I don't want anyone to miss out in the beginning. But let me go ahead and pull up these first several filings we're going to go through together. Unfortunately, all of my friends who would normally stream with me are A, working, or B, out of town, because, some of them are on the West Coast. So this is, I'm on my own out here, and this is a true test of my willpower, I think. So, but don't worry, we got my giant water jug as always, and if I have to take a bathroom break, I will play some light comedy for you guys during those intermissions. So, yeah. If you're watching this back on replay, don't forget to hit the like for me. It would really help me out. And I have a feeling I'm going to be adding some more mods tonight throughout the night because my mods cannot stay awake for this long. Let's do this. All right. I'm going to pull up the first filing. We're going to go through Justin Baldoni's response to Blake Lively first. And I have 2 response filings here from Justin Baldoni. One is to Blake Lively, and the other one we'll go through on the next stream after my break is to Stephanie Jones. Now, in those Stephanie Jones responses, we're going to see who did that phone that the text messages came from really belong to? Was there actually a valid subpoena? But stay tuned, because first, we're going through Justin's direct response to Blake. All right. And as always, I will upload every single one of these filings for free for you guys to access on my YouTube channel under the post tab and on my Twitter account. So, all right, let's see. Here we got this response. We'll pull this one up first. Citizen Journalist, thank you for the $2. Citizen Journalist is awesome. If you don't follow her on Twitter, you should. Jamie Lewis, thank you for the $10 super sticker. You rock. All right. Let me zoom in a little bit. This one's 68 pages. And like I said, on all the other filings, if it gets to case law stuff, we'll probably skim through that a little bit. My friend Omar, who's going to be live tonight in 3 or 4 hours because he's on the West Coast, is going to go over some of the legal aspects. I know the Ask Two Lawyers went over Lively's motion to dismiss earlier, but he's going to talk a little bit about that to give another perspective, as well as all of these other filings. So, and I told him I would stay up and join him. So we're just going to have to do this. All right. Let me share the screen. All right, it's an answer to the first amended complaint. Let me pull this in a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see that all right. Lar Trainer, thank you for the 10. You Rockland Lauren. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Not Doctor Who, thank you for the $2 super sticker. All right. Let's see, and let me just make sure really quickly that nothing else is coming in because they've been back to back to back to back since 9 o'clock. I don't know if that was planned or what, but it got oh my. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh no. Oh shit. Okay. No, Jen Abel is apparently going to sue Stephanie Jones back now. So this is a new one. All right. So stuff is still coming in as we're doing this, guys. Let me just download this filing really quick. This is Abel's response. Okay. Just want to make sure I get everything. This is so crazy. All right. Yep, we got a summons to Stephanie Jones right here, so somebody's still getting sued. All right. Sorry, guys. Bear with me a sec. All right. I think I'm good. That's enough of my nonsense. Let's get into the good stuff, huh? God, this is so crazy right now. I was expecting this shit to come in throughout the day, so bear with me. Contribution to pay for the filings. I appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you very much, Liza. I appreciate it. Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate you. Don't burn out. Neidigh B, thank you for the 5. I will not. Don't worry. I prepared for this. I knew this was coming. So, all right. I think we have enough people in here to start reading, don't you? Okay. Defendant Justin Baldoni hereby answers for himself alone and no others the First Amendment complaint filed by plaintiff Blake Lively as follows. The complaint's allegations. Number 1. Answering the allegations in paragraph 1 of the complaint, defendant denies such allegations. Okay. Answering the allegations in paragraph 2, defendant admits that Justin Baldoni is the co-chairman and co-founder of Wayfarer and served as director and actor in the lead role of Ryo Kincaid in the film. Oh, guilty as charged. All right. And that plaintiff Blake Lively played the lead role of Lily Bloom in the film. As to all As to all remaining allegations, defendant denies such allegations. Answering the allegations in paragraph 3, defendant admits that he has written books, hosted podcasts, and delivered TED Talks relating to male advocacy for feminism. As to all remaining allegations, defendant denies such allegations. 4. Answering the allegations in paragraph 4 of the complaint, defendant admits that the quoted news articles contain the text quoted therein. Defendant denies all of the remaining allegations in the paragraph, and specifically denies that the articles and their context are characterized accurately in the complaint. 5. Answering paragraph 5, defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to form a belief about the truth of the allegations that Lively and others have received threats. As to all remaining allegations, defendant denies such allegations. So basically the next several are defendant denies, which, is not surprising. All right. 10. Defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to form a belief about truth of such allegations. Okay. Answering the allegations in paragraph 11, defendant denies that Baldoni or Jamie Heath engaged in unwelcome and inappropriate behavior. As to the remaining allegations, defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to form a belief about the truth of such allegations. One sec. Sorry, guys. Longhorn Chick, thank you for the 20. I appreciate that. Okay. Answering the allegations in paragraph 12 of the complaint, defendant denies that he engaged in unwelcome behavior. As to the remaining allegations, defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to form a belief about the truth of such allegations. Answering the allegations in 13, defendant admits that Baldoni sent a text message acknowledging certain concerns by an actress on the film and stating that they would be addressed appropriately. Defendant denies all remaining allegations and specifically denies that the communication and its context are characterized accurately in the complaint, including to the extent that the complaint suggests that the communication related to a complaint of sexual harassment or misconduct. What do you guys think? Should we pull up that complaint just so we know what the paragraphs are referencing? I'm going to do it. Give me 1 second. Okay. It'd be good to just get a side-by-side, I think. Okay. We're on what? Paragraph 13. All right, let's go here. right. Paragraph 13 said, on June 1st, Mr. Baldoni responded to that female cast member in writing, acknowledging that he was aware of her concerns and that adjustment would be made. Okay. So that was regarding a female cast member reported her concerns to Miss Neidigh and one of the film's producers. They don't say anything actually about sexual harassment there. It's just kind of implied, which is shitty. Okay. 14, answering the allegations in 14, defendant denies. As to all remaining allegations, he lacks knowledge or information. Okay. 15, defendant admits that production of the film shut down for guild strikes. Okay. He denies that production shut down on June 14th. As to all remaining allegations, defendant lacks knowledge or information. Okay. Answering the allegations in 16, defendant admits that it ends with us and Blakel? Is that what that's? Blakel? Blake L? Entered into the document titled Protections for Return to Production, attached as Exhibit A to the complaint. Defendant denies that Lively made any formal complaints, that Wayfarer failed to investigate or address any such complaints, and that the protections for return to production were designed to require Wayfarer to cease any on-set behavior of Baldoni and Heath or remedy any alleged misconduct. Okay. So they're adamantly denying that she made formal complaints. They're denying that they failed to investigate anything, and they're denying that these return to production requests that they signed under duress, might I add, were like suggesting that they need to cease any on-set behavior, like anything bad had happened, basically. And you guys will notice this looks a little different because every other response we've seen so far to a complaint has been a motion to dismiss. Not this one. They don't want to dismiss. They want to go to court. Like, they want to go to court and prove their innocence. So, give me one sec. Stir Crazy says not happy about this at all. What do you mean you're not happy? I'm so confused. All right, one sec. I'm trying to fix this light real quick. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. God, this thing sucks. Maybe you get a new light, guys. If you can see me okay, then I won't even turn that back on. How about that? Okay. All right, well, we'll just skim through this and get to the paragraphs that are, or the sentences that are different. Let's see. Defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to form a belief as to the allegation concerning Angie Giannetti, her text to Lively. Defendant denies all the remaining allegations. Answering paragraph 19, the complaint, defendant admits that a meeting took place and that attendees of the meeting included Baldoni, Heath, Giannetti, Alex Sachs, Todd Black, Lively, and Ryan Reynolds. All right. Denies. If it just says denies, I'm going to skim over it because we already know that. All right. Let's see. Through most of the beginning of these filings are all kind of the same. I did skim over them a little bit, so. Okay. Defendant admits that Wayfarer retained Melissa, Nathan, and Tag, and that Nathan delivered a proposal containing the text set forth in that paragraph. Defendant denies all the remaining allegations in the paragraph, and specifically denies that the proposal and its context are characterized accurately in the complaint. Okay. Answering the allegations in paragraph 30, defendant denies. Answering the allegations in 31, defendant admits that Nathan delivered the scenario planning document, attached as Exhibit D. Defendant denies all remaining allegations and specifically denies that the scenario planning document and its context are characterized accurately in the complaint. Okay. Got here. Lacks knowledge or information. Okay. Okay. Bear with me while we get through this stuff. It's a long, there are a lot of paragraphs in those amended complaints. All right. It's mostly just deny, 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 which is expected. Okay. Answering the allegations in paragraph 57, defendant admits that Wayfarer is a studio co-founded by Baldoni and Sarowitz, that Wayfarer is a Delaware limited liability company with its principal place of business in California, that no members of Wayfarer Studios are citizens of New York, that all of Wayfarer's members are citizens of California and or Illinois, and that Wayfair co-financed the film. As to all remaining allegations, defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to form a belief as to the truth of such allegations. Okay. So basically just like demographic stuff. Dude, this is like a last minute essay. It's like the same thing every single time. Hang on. Okay. Answering the allegations in 76. Defendant admits that Baldoni serves as co-founder of Wayfair, that he served as co-lead actor playing the role of Ryle Kincaid in the film, and that Sony served as distributor for the film. Okay. He denies everything else. Okay. Answering the allegations in 83, defendant admits that an article in the Hollywood Reporter contained the text quoted therein. All right. As to all remaining allegations, he denies, and specifically denies, that the quoted language accurately reflects the scene. So what was 83? Let's check it. 83, that's all the way down here. Hang on. Okay. 83 was talking about releasing the video to the media, that dancing video. Okay. And then Lively's complaint that they're responding to here was saying that the video corroborates Blake's description of the scene. Okay. Okay. 94. Answering the allegations in 94, defendant admits the allegation that a podcast interview contained the text set forth in that paragraph. Defendant denies all remaining allegations. What was 94? Let me check. Okay, so this is kind of important. Hang on, let me zoom this in. That was 94. I just talked about what their response to that was. So this is what 94 in the complaint said. In fact, Mr. Baldoni publicly acknowledges that he has struggled with consent. He echoed language similar to the words he spoke to Ms. Lively in the car ride described above in a podcast interview, in which he admitted that he had crossed boundaries and lines in my teens and 20s with respect to obtaining consent. So he's his response to that was, yes, the podcast interview contained the text set forth in that paragraph, but everything else is denied. Okay. Answering the allegations in paragraph 100, defendant denies that Baldoni personally described Lively as sexy out of character. So he was only ever talking about her character if he said anything related, like anything relative to that. As to all remaining allegations, they require no response because they merely state a legal conclusion. To the extent that any of the remaining allegations remain, defendant denies. Okay. It's answering the allegations in 101. He lacks knowledge or information to form a belief about the truth with respect to Lively's state of mind and her communications with third parties. Okay. So the beginning of this filing, guys, is mostly just this stuff. So I'm going to skim over, like I said. We're going to go through the whole thing. Okay. So he admits they attended that meeting in the penthouse on January 4th. Okay. Let's see. Answering 159, the allegations require no response because they merely state a legal conclusion. I don't know what 159 was. Hang on. I'll scroll down to 159 real quick. Okay. Here's what 159 said. Mr. Baldoni and the Wayfarer parties have falsely claimed that Miss Lively took over the movie as a self-aggrandizing power play. The entire accusation would rely on Miss Lively and others fabricating malicious claims nearly a year before an edit. Though Baldoni and Heath repeatedly engaged in inappropriate behavior with witnesses and corroborators in real time. Okay. Hold on, guys. Let me go through some of these real quick. Anna Marie O'Donnell, thank you for the $20 super sticker. Alegna52, thank you for the $2.79. You rock. Thanks for keeping us up to date. Thank you for watching. Adrian Clark, thank you for the 20. Keep up the good work. You are now the only person reading these online. Selfishly, I love listening to them in full. Well, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. We'll keep moving now. Right. I'm going to skim over these unless I see something interesting to stop about. Hang on. Answering 167, he admits the film grossed more than $350 million, and the linked YouTube video quotes Sarowitz as making the quoted remarks. Okay. But they require no response because they merely state a legal conclusion. Okay. Answering 187, he admits the allegation that Abel sent Heath communications containing the text set forth in that paragraph. Defendant lacks knowledge or information sufficient to form a belief as to the truth of the allegations that Lively and others in the cast fulfilled a publicity obligation and that they did not discuss purported misconduct on set. Defendant denies all the remaining allegations in the paragraph and specifically denies that the communications and their context are characterized accurately in the complaint. Okay. In paragraph 190, defendant admits the allegation that Abel sent communications containing the text set forth in that paragraph. Defendant denies all the remaining allegations in the paragraph and specifically denies that the communications and their context are characterized accurately in the complaint. Okay. Right. Answering paragraph 200, he admits that Abel sent communications containing the text in the paragraph, but lacks knowledge or information to form a belief as to the truth of the allegation that the communication was sent before any of the cast sat down for interviews at the press or the film's press junket. Okay. Defendant admits he had a phone call to discuss services that Nathan and Tag might provide to Wayfarer and defendant, but he denies all the remaining allegations in the paragraph and specifically denies that the phone call and its context are characterized accurately in the complaint. All right. He admits Tag circulated a document containing the text set forth in that paragraph. This is 203, so let's move over and make sure we remember what we're talking about here. All right. 203. So that was the scenario planning it ends with us document. So we all know that was like a PR planning thing, which is not really proving anything. So, all right, let's see. Okay, nothing too crazy here. Yeah, if I see there just one line denies or lacks knowledge or information sufficient, then I'm just going to skim over it. All right. Defendant admits that Abel sent communications containing the text set forth in that paragraph in 249. So let's see what 249 was. Okay. 249 says, the following day, Miss Abel confirmed to Mr. Baldoni there had been nothing, very little pickup, and that fans believe the issue of the feud is because Blake took control of the movie. Right here. Okay. All right, nothing crazy here. I'll stop if I see anything. Okay, here we go. Answering 314, defendant admits that he presented a TED Talk in which he delivered remarks containing the text set forth in the paragraph. So 314, and we know they were using a lot of his old words against him here. So we're going to scroll back to 314. I know we're playing ping pong here a little bit, but I do want to have the context for what we're talking about. So here is 314. In 2017, he presented a TED Talk entitled Why I'm Done Trying to Be Man Enough. He challenged men to be man enough to stand up to other men when they hear locker room talk and when they hear stories of sexual harassment. Okay. So again, I don't think that was really relevant at all to anything, but that is unfortunately something she did include in there. So, all right. He admits he announced a show called Man Enough, and that Man Enough included an episode that contained the language set forth in that paragraph, 317. Let's see, what was 317? That was where they're talking about Mr. Baldoni hosted a round table with really strong men, including Mr. Heath and others, in a reaction to the Me Too movement, to collectively learn from each other, from experts, and hear firsthand from women, and try to figure out how we can be better allies in our responses and in our actions. Again, what the fuck does that have to do with the lawsuit? But I guess he had to respond to that. So, talking about his TED Talk some more. All right. God, we're really that many paragraphs in the amended complaint? I guess there were. Huh. So these responses might not have much meat on them at all. Maybe we only have to do one stream. We'll see. It's basically just saying deny, deny, deny. Oh, here we go. Okay, here's the better stuff. Affirmative and other defenses. By alleging the following affirmative and other defenses, defendant is not in any way agreeing or conceding that he has the burden of proof or burden of persuasion on any of these issues. As separate and distinct defenses to plaintiff's complaint and each purported cause of action contained therein, defendant alleges as follows. Okay. First defense, the complaint fails to state facts sufficient to constitute any claim for relief against defendant. Second defense, complaint and each claim alleged therein is barred as plaintiff lacks standing to sue. Third, the complaint and each claim alleged is barred as plaintiff has waived her claims. Fourth, the complaint and each claim alleged therein is barred as plaintiff is stopped from asserting her claims. Fifth, plaintiff acted and continues to act with unclean hands. Wait a minute. Hang on. Let's go down those causes of action so we can see exactly what they're talking about here. All right. Fifth cause of action. Hang on. That's really funny. Okay. So here was the fifth cause of action. Retaliation in violation of the California Labor Code against it ends with us. Okay. She repeats, reiterates, realleges. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. This is about retaliation. So basically they're saying she acted with unclean hands, I guess. I've never heard that before. I don't know what that means, but here we are. Let's see. Oh, hey, Reg Angel, what's up? P. Mahone, thank you for reminding us. Yes, please hit the like button if you guys can. AKA the Cat Lady, thank you for the 5. You're so on this case and you're doing amazing with this case. Thank you. Also, I can mod it if you need me. Thank you very much. I might. We'll see. Stir Crazy, thank you for the 20. If you all love Lauren bringing you this first, I'm begging you to support her by hitting that like button. Looks at LC. Thank you. All right. Mary Henderson, thank you for the $2 super sticker. Hendrickson, my bad. And KKB, thank you for the 20. No catching up when I'm late is painful because I'm afraid I'll miss the next new stream. Hanging in there. We appreciate everything you're doing. Best citizen journalist ever. I can hear you denying it now. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Sixth defense, the complaints in each therein is barred as plaintiff has not been damaged in any way or at all as a result of any alleged acts or omissions of defendant. Okay, the sixth defense is, what was the cause of action there? Failure to investigate, prevent, and or remedy harassment. Okay. Seventh, the complaint and each claim alleged therein is barred in whole or in part by the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay. Eighth defense. I don't know if I'm actually looking at so I'm looking at the causes of action here, and I don't know if they're actually corresponding exactly to these defenses. This is the first time I've ever read anything like this, so just bear with me. Eighth defense, the complaint is barred by reason of plaintiff's consent. Okay. Ninth is barred as plaintiff has failed to undertake reasonable measures to mitigate the damages she claims to have incurred. Any recovery by plaintiff must be diminished to the extent that any alleged damages could have been avoided if such measures had been undertaken. Okay. And that's the ninth defense? Okay. Let me see if this makes any sense. Yep. Okay. 10th, defendant is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges that plaintiff would be unjustly enriched if recovery were to be had on this complaint. 11th, plaintiff has not been damaged in any amount alleged or in any amount whatsoever, and is not entitled to any general compensatory, statutory, punitive, or other damages, or any other relief as a result of any allegations set forth in the complaint. 12th, the acts and or omissions of plaintiff excused any alleged act or alleged failure to act on the part of the defendant. 13th, if defendant had any alleged obligations or legal duties, which defendant hereby expressly denies, defendant has appropriately, completely, and fully performed and discharged any alleged obligations and any alleged legal duties arising out of the matters alleged in the complaint. 14th, the damages and injuries, if any, suffered by plaintiff were directly and proximately caused solely by the acts or omissions of individuals or entities other than defendant. The acts and omissions of such other individuals or entities are superseding or intervening causes of loss or damages, if any, suffered by plaintiff. As a consequence thereof, plaintiff is barred from recovery against defendant herein. Okay. God, how many of these are there? So many. So many. Okay. Yep. 29. There's 29 of them. And I already forgot which number I left off at, so. All right, hang on. Did we go through 14 already? Directly and proximately caused? Yeah, I think we did. Okay. We're going to start at 17. How about that? The complaint fails to state sufficient of facts sufficient to permit an award of punitive damages, and any such award would violate due process. Okay, one sec here. Yeah, this has nothing to do with the causes of action. My bad. Okay. Okay. The complaint in each and every cause of action alleged therein fails to state any facts supporting the claim for punitive and exemplary damages. 19th defense. The complaint in each and every cause of action is barred from in whole or in part because at all material times defendant acted in good faith and without malice based upon all relevant facts and circumstances known by defendant at the time. 20th. Plaintiff and her agents, servants, and employees has failed to bring the causes of action alleged in the complaint in a timely manner and are therefore barred from recovery against defendant in whole or in part by the equitable doctrine of... Wait, what is that word? Hang on. Laches? Latches? Unreasonable delay in making an assertion or claim. Okay, so I had to Google that, guys. I'm not infallible. All right, 21st defense. Defendant alleges that in the event he is found in some manner legally liable to plaintiff as a result of the events or occurrences, that liability will be solely based upon a derivative, vicarious, or imputed form of liability, not resulting from his own conduct, but instead based upon an obligation imposed upon him by law or by the conduct of others. And as such, the legal liability of defendant will be proximately caused by the acts or omissions of others, and therefore defendant is entitled to recover contribution from them. Okay. 22nd defense. Defendant alleges that in the event he is found in some manner legally liable to plaintiff as a result of the events or occurrences described in the complaint, that liability will be based solely upon a derivative, vicarious, or imputed form of liability, not resulting from his own conduct, but instead based upon an obligation imposed upon him by law or by the conduct of others, and as such, the legal liability of defendant would be proximately caused by acts or omissions of others, and therefore defendant is entitled to recover total and complete implied and or comparable indemnity from them. 23rd defense. And there are 29 total, so. Defendant alleges that in the event he is found in some manner legally liable to plaintiff, that liability will be based solely upon a derivative, vicarious, or imputed form of liability, not resulting from his own conduct, but instead based upon an obligation imposed upon him by law or by the conduct of others, and as such, the legal liability of defendant would be proximately caused by acts or omissions of others, and therefore, defendant is entitled to recover total and complete equitable indemnity from them. 24th defense. Any injury or damage to plaintiff, which defendant specifically denies, was proximately caused by the negligence, recklessness, or intentional conduct of others who acted as one or more of the plaintiff's legal counsel, agents, or representatives. Accordingly, if any liability is found on the part of the defendant, then defendant's liability to plaintiff shall be reduced on the basis of comparative fault. 25th defense. Any injury or damage to plaintiff which defendant specifically denies was proximately caused by the negligence of plaintiff. So it's her fault. Is that what we're saying? I'm sorry. 26th defense. Plaintiff's alleged damages are too speculative to permit recovery in this case. That makes a lot of sense. All right. 27. The complaint in each and every cause of action alleged is barred in whole or in part by the doctrine of in pari delicto. What is that? Hang on. In equal fault. Okay. So it means, so it's a legal doctrine that prevents a court from intervening to resolve disputes between two wrongdoers. Okay. So basically they're both wrong. They're equally at fault in the wrongdoing, is what they're saying there. Huh. Okay. Oh gosh, sorry, I forgot to hide that. The comment. Thank you for the 5. Hear me out. Unclean hands is a type of affirmative defense, basically saying other party is acting unethically. Yeah, I like that one. Raise Bell Star, thank you for the 2. We got you, Lauren. Keep going. Thank you very much. All right. If all the filings are like this one, then it won't take too long to get through them, but there are 7. So, and that's just in this case. We're doing the publicist case in a separate stream. So, bear in mind. Okay. 28th defense. The complaint in each and every cause of action alleged against defendant therein fails to allege facts sufficient to allow recovery of attorney's fees from defendant. 29. Plaintiff's claims based upon California statutes are barred because plaintiff does not allege that defendant took any wrongful actions within the state of California. So that's probably going to come into play a lot. All right. Reservation of additional defenses. Defendant presently has insufficient knowledge or information on which to form a belief as to whether he may have additional, as yet unstaffed affirmative or other defenses available. Defendant reserves the right to assert additional defenses in the event that discovery indicates they would be appropriate. Prayer for relief. Wherefore, defendant Justin Baldoni prays for relief as follows. 1. That the complaint be dismissed with prejudice and plaintiff take nothing herein. 2. That judgment be entered in favor of defendant against plaintiff. 3. For costs of suit incurred in this action. And 4. For such other and further relief as the court may deem just and proper. Demand for jury trial. Defendant demands a jury trial on all causes of action so triable. So, like, they're not going to drop this. This is not going to be a settlement. Like, these guys want to go to court is what my feeling about this. All right, and that's the end of that one. Hang on. Why don't we go through, what's the next one we should go through? Give me one sec. There's a lot here. Let me check out his response to Jones and see if it's about the same. Okay. Yeah, his response to Jones is about, I mean, there's a lot of, it's kind of repetitive the same way this was. We could go over, hang on. Let's go over just the bottom part of this one. So this is his response to Jones' lawsuit, because remember that Wayfarer, Baldoni, etc. were also named in Stephanie Jones' lawsuit. 1 second, I'll move this real quick. And then we'll go through Jamie Heath, see if we missed anything there, and Steve Sarowitz, etc. All right. Susie's Blush, thank you for the $10 super sticker. I appreciate you. All right. Okay, so this is Justin Baldoni's answer to the complaint by Stephanie Jones and Jones Works. Okay. The beginning of this is like largely the same, so we're going to skim over that because look at it. It's like all the same, like the last one. And this is only 28 pages, so it's a lot shorter. Okay. All right. Affirmative and other defenses. 1 sec. All right. By alleging the following affirmative and other defenses, defendant is not in any way agreeing or conceding that he has the burden of proof or burden of persuasion on any of these issues. As separate and distinct defenses to plaintiff's complaint, and each purported cause of action contained therein, defendant alleges as follows. First defense, gosh, I can't talk. The complaint in each alleged therein fails to state facts sufficient to constitute any claim for relief. Second, the complaint is barred as plaintiffs lack standing to sue. Third defense, the complaint is barred as plaintiffs have waived their claims. Fourth, plaintiffs are stopped from asserting their claims. Fifth, plaintiffs acted and continue to act with unclean hands. Again, nobody washes their hands in this thing, I guess. Sixth, The complaint and each claim alleged therein is barred as plaintiffs has not been damaged in any way or at all as a result of any alleged acts or omissions of defendant. And this is just Justin, by the way. Not like Wayfair as a whole, but okay. The complaint is barred by the First Amendment of the Constitution, barred by reasons of plaintiff's consent. Okay. And the ninth defense is the complaint is barred as plaintiffs have failed to undertake reasonable measures to mitigate the damages they claim to have incurred. Any recovery by plaintiffs must be diminished to the extent that any alleged damages could have been avoided if such measures had been undertaken. 10th, defendant is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges, that plaintiffs would be unjustly enriched if recovery were to be had on this complaint. 11th, plaintiffs have not been damaged in any amount alleged or in any amount whatsoever and are not entitled to any general compensatory, statutory, punitive, or other damages. Okay. 12th, the acts or omissions of the plaintiff excused any alleged act or alleged failure to act. 13th, if defendant had any alleged obligations or legal dues, which defendant denies, defendant has appropriately, completely, and fully performed and discharged any alleged obligations. 14th, the damages and injuries suffered by plaintiffs were directly and proximately caused solely by the acts or omissions of individuals or entities other than defendant. Okay. 15th, damages and injuries were directly and proximately caused by the reckless, negligent, and wrongful conduct of individuals or entities other than Justin Baldoni. 16th, the damages and injuries were directly and proximately caused solely by the intentional misconduct of individuals or entities other than Justin Baldoni. Right. 17th, complaint fails to state facts sufficient to permit an award of punitive damages, and any such award would violate due process. 18th, God, there's a lot of these. The complaint and each and every cause of action alleged therein fails to state any facts supporting any claim for punitive or exemplary damages. 19th, the complaint and each and every cause of action alleged therein is barred in whole or in part because at all material times, defendant acted in good faith and without malice based upon all relevant facts and circumstances known by defendant at the time. 20th, plaintiffs and each of their agents, etc., have failed to bring the causes of actions alleged in the complaint in a timely manner. 21st, defendant alleges that in the event he is found in some manner legally liable to plaintiffs as a result of the events described in the complaint, that liability will be solely based upon a derivative, vicarious, or imputed form of liability. 22nd, let's see. That's pretty much the same as before. 23rd, okay, that's also pretty much the same as before. 24th, any injury or damage to plaintiff which defendant specifically denies was proximately caused by the negligence, recklessness, or intentional conduct of others who acted as one or more of the plaintiff's legal counsel, agents, or representatives. 25th, any injury or damage which defendant specifically denies was proximately caused by the negligence of plaintiffs. 26, plaintiff's alleged damages are too speculative. 27, the complaint is barred in whole or in part by, the thing that we just looked up, in pari delicto, which was in equal fault. 29th, the complaint in each and every cause of action alleged therein is barred in whole or in part by the doctrine of waiver. 30th, the complaint in each and every cause of action is barred in whole or in part because defendant's conduct was justified or privileged, or both, under the circumstances. 31st, the complaint in each and every cause of action is barred in whole or in part by the doctrine of accord and satisfaction. Oh my God, there's so many. 32nd, barred in whole or in part because there was a lack of privity. 33, barred in whole or in part by the doctrine of substantial compliance. 34, barred in whole or in part by frustration of purpose. 35th, barred in whole or in part by termination of contract. And 36, barred in whole or in part by lack of consideration. Reservation of additional defenses. Defendant presently has insufficient knowledge or information on which to form a belief as to whether he may have additional, as yet unstated affirmative or other defenses available. Defendant reserves the right to assert additional defenses in the event that discovery indicates that they would be appropriate. Prayer for relief. Blech. Wherefore, defendant Justin Baldoni prays for relief as follows. 1, the complaint be dismissed with prejudice. and plaintiffs take nothing. 2, judgment be entered in favor of defendant. 3, for costs of suit incurred in this action, and 4, for other and further relief as the court may deem just and proper. All right, so that one was also pretty standard. Hang on, but we got lots of other documents I want to go over. Give me 1 second. I'll just show you guys my whole Dropbox. I was about to say my whole Dropbox, and I stopped at my whole, and that was pretty bad. I'm not going to show you my whole. I'll show you my whole Dropbox. Give me 1 second. All right. This is definitely less colorful than the motions to dismiss have been so far, but Knickknack says, Lauren, please do an ASMR with you drinking water for your gallon bottle. I'll think about it. Probably won't, but I don't know. All right. One sec. Rainy Day Sprite, thank you for the 10. Impari delicto is a legal term that Ryan Reynolds would use inappropriately on a random oh, God, why? Thank you for that. All right. Tammy Hoshiyama, thank you for the 5. Unclean hands means BL is accusing JB of something she has done herself. Thank you very much. KP, thank you for the 20. Thanks, Lauren, and feel free to keep hydrating without muting whoever complains. Obviously hasn't played sport. Can we consider this a sport at this point? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's weird. I'll get like a couple people that'll be like, Lauren, you're drinking your water is bothering me. And then when I say, okay, guys, I know this is bothering people, other people are like, no, Lauren, don't you dare stop. You know, so it's just, I don't know. All right. Woo, Lauren's going to flash us. No, I'm not. Don't tell people that. We're supposed to do that after hours, Brenda. That was supposed to be a private moment. All right. Let me see. What do we got here? 1 sec, guys. Okay, moving this around. So this is where we started tonight. So these are all the filings that I've saved so far, and then we have all the Wayfarer stuff from 2020. These are all from tonight. So I'm going to skim over and look and see if there's anything else responding to Lively that we should really read. If not, then I'll probably close out, take a break, and then we'll get to the publicist case in like 20 minutes or so. But hang on, let me just make sure. Okay. So this was Wayfarer response to Lively. And you can see it on the right. The preview's coming up. Let me just skim through. Make sure there's nothing else we need to see here. Like I said, I'm going to post these all for everybody to access anyways. So if you want to read through them all, you're totally welcome to. All right. Okay. So these are pretty much the same. We're going to look through, we'll skim through everything just to make sure. But so that was Wayfarer. We read Justin's. This is the It Ends With Us movie LLC, which I'm pretty sure is also the same. It definitely looks like it. La 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 la. Don't mind me. Yeah, they're answering each paragraph. Basically just like, nah, I didn't do that. Okay. That was It Ends With Us. Here's the Heath response, which, again, is pretty much the same, I think. Yeah. So we don't have to worry too much about this. This is going to be a lot less stressful than I thought it was. So that's good. Okay, Sorowitz we had, which is going to be pretty much the same. Yeah. Okay. Tag. And then we have the responses to Jones, which might be a little more interesting. Hang on. Okay. Nothing too crazy. All right. Here was Abel's response. Okay. This was Abel's response to Lively. Yeah. So I think the interesting stuff is probably going to be in the responses to Jones. But give me 1 second to pull this up. Hold on. This is interesting. Okay. So we have here summons on a third-party complaint. A lawsuit has been filed against defendant Jennifer Abel, who as third-party plaintiff is making this claim against you to pay part or all of what the defendant may owe to the plaintiff, Blake Lively, within 21 days after service. That's when they have to give a response, an answer to the complaint. Yeah, so that's funny. So this hasn't actually been served yet, but they've like issued they're going to issue the summons. So. They're going to try to have Jonesworks pay Blake if they're found liable. So if they owe anything to Blake Lively, they're like, no, Stephanie Jones has to pay this. Let's pay some of this. So that's kind of funny. All right, hang on. One second. Somebody says, yes, Melanie King shared the article. What article? I follow Melanie, but I haven't seen anyone's stuff today because I've been so busy with other things. So, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay. Let me check out these responses to Stephanie Jones and see if they're going to be any more entertaining. That's a show tab. Yep. Yeah, guys, these are mostly just kind of the same types of. Oh, okay. Jennifer Abel's is different. All right. Hang on. So this is Jen Abel's response to Jones. Remember, Jennifer Abel worked for Stephanie Jones before she went off on her own. Stephanie Jones got the text messages that were named that were used in the complaint by Blake Lively and in Stephanie Jones' complaint off of Jennifer Abel's phone, which was a company-owned phone, but it was Jennifer Abel's phone number that she had had since like high school or something. So there's a lot going on there. Hang on. This is a longer document, though. There's some more stuff in it that we'll go over in a second. But I just want to kind of skim through and check out what we're looking at. Okay. All right. So they do all the other stuff that the others did, but then they do counterclaims. Counterclaims is Jennifer Abel, which they're going to kind of explain their position on the cell phone and the text and stuff, I believe, and Abel's employment agreement, which is going to be like what, like Stephanie Jones has said that they violated the contract. She violated her contract by a lot of means. So they're going to explain that. Okay. Let's see if there's anything super interesting. Like I'll read this stuff, but we're going to skim through for just right now. Hang on. It's okay. Abel's employment agreements are laden with unlawful terms. That's interesting. Huh. Okay. Abel's tumultuous and traumatic tenure at Jonesworks. Now we're getting to something interesting. Within a few weeks of Abel's onboarding, Jonesworks faced a mass exodus of employees in its New York office. What? When Abel was concerned, Jones assured her that all of the departing employees were horrible at their jobs and were going to be fired anyways. So this is where it's going to get really interesting, but I am going to take... Oh, they got text in here too. Okay. Predictably, Jones took the news poorly, to say the least. Okay, consistent with her erratic behavior, she swung from extreme to extreme. Oh, this is going to get dramatic. Okay. But this is for next stream, guys. So, like I said, I'm going to take like a 15-20 minute break before I read through this. Oh, there's good stuff in here, bro. That's where the good stuff is. Okay, hang on. Yeah, this is where it's going to get a little crazy. Oh. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go through all that. Don't worry. But for right this second, I just want to skim over the other documents, make sure I didn't miss anything interesting. But I have a feeling we're going to hear a lot about that cell phone and whether or not it was actually legal for them to get, whether it was actually legal for them to get the text off that phone. And did they give them to Blake? Did they not give them to Blake? Whose phone was it really? So I feel like we're going to hear about that. But give me 1 second to skim through these other docs real quick. Okay. That was Jen Abel. Here's Melissa and Nathan. You guys can see my Dropbox, right? Hang on. Okay. Here's Melissa and Nathan. Let's skim through that. Yeah, so this is pretty much more the same. So nothing super, super crazy here. All right. Jen Abel's response to Lively was pretty much the same, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it was. Okay, we got... all those responses to Lively were very similar. Wayfair response to Jones. I'm assuming that's probably going to be like Justin's response. So basically more of the same kind of boring technical stuff. Whoa, hold on. Whoa, hold on. All right, we got some more stuff here. Wait. Okay, hang on. Okay, so the Jones stuff is where it's getting crazy tonight. Not what I expected, but that is... all right, hang on. Like, I was thinking this response to Lively was going to be a lot longer, but I guess not. Okay, so we're looking at Wayfair Studios answer to complaints, blah, blah, blah. So we'll skim over this stuff again when we go through this. Hang on. But then we get down to the interesting stuff, which is relevant context regarding the film. Okay. Okay, and then we're talking about Colleen Hoover in the book. Oh, Jones and Jonesworks acts against Wayfair's interest and breach the agreement. So they're going to fight back on these claims by Stephanie Jones. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this is going to get crazy. Leading up to the film's premiere, Lively and Baldoni's teams had negotiating an uneasy truce in which neither side would participate in negative coverage of the other. Lively's team had already broken that truce, but the Wayfarer team did not know that then. As far as they were concerned, it was best for Baldoni, Lively, and the film if both sides agreed to keep the peace. The Wayfarer's team had to date been acting only in defense and responding to press inquiries. Oh no! But on August 8th, 2024, Jones, in another desperate attempt to reinsert herself, contacted a Daily Mail reporter about a story they had published about Baldoni and Lively. Oh, man. Okay, so we're going to get more text and emails exposed here. Let's see. We have to fight for every story. Tara, I swear with my hand to God, I have never leaked anything to any outlet, and I think you know this. Okay. Jamie's text to Jones works. Okay. Oh. Hold on. Okay, yeah, this is where it's going to get really interesting. All right, so I'm going to take a little break before we do that next stream, but give me 1 second. We're going to look at this docket and make sure nothing else was filed that I missed before we log off for a quick break here. Give me 1 sec. And I'll show you again what that looks like. All right, let me move my head. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we got through everything as far as the Lively responses. They weren't super exciting like I thought they would be, but What do you expect? I'm not a lawyer. So, but the Stephanie Jones stuff is going to be where it gets really interesting. We're going to read those complaints by Abel and, or those responses by Abel and the counterclaims by Abel and Wayfarer, which is where a lot of these new texts and stuff are going to be exposed. We're going to do that in about, let's see, it's 10:15 p.m. where I am right now. So we'll go, we'll start again at, let's say, how about 10:40? We'll stay 10:40, so about 25 minutes. I'll take a quick break, just clean up a little bit downstairs, and we'll be back. Hang on. I already have a link to the next stream, so let me get that for you. 1 second. Okay, and I'll set it to 10:40. All right. 1 second, guys. I'm going to give you that link, and then I'm going to hop off for a bit, and then we'll get into the really juicy stuff, yeah? Sorry it wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be, but, you know, it was good to see everything and just know what's going on. But the next one's going to be where the interesting dramatic stuff comes in, and that's where I feel like we're going to have a good time kind of discussing that as a group. So, all right. Let me see. Where's the link to Max Live? There it is. Okay, I'm putting a link in the chat right here to the next live, which is going to be in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Here it is. And I'll pin the comments. 1 second. Pin message. There we go. Okay. Clean up downstairs. You said the documents weren't exciting. No, but I had to make dinner before this, so my dishes are dirty. Okay. So don't worry, we are going to have lots of drama and lots of tea in the next stream. Even if you guys, don't get too excited, I'm probably going to pee my pants just based on what we skimmed through. I mean, not literally. I'm not a delinquent. I'm not going to do that. But like, I'll be interested to see what's going to be said. So, like I said, there's the next stream. It's going to be up in 25 minutes. In the meantime, let's see, what do we got in the meantime? Oh, I'm going to send you to my friend IT Goatee. If you guys could do me a favor while we're waiting, please go to my friend IT Goatee stream right now. I'm going to redirect you guys. Send him lots of bacons and tell him Lauren from the Court of Random Opinion loves him. Or you can just say, Lauren loves you. Lauren sends love. Okay? And send lots of bacons and robots. If you want to be part of the bacon bot army, if you don't know what that means, you should. But no judgment. Okay? Lots of bacons, lots of robots, and I'll see you guys in about 20 to 25 minutes. And we have lots of good stuff coming up. So see you in a minute. Yeah?